Hi everyone, welcome to Cucumber Training Program. In the last class, we studied about a couple of scenarios and examples. So in the today's class, I would like to give you a brief overview on defining a preconditions and a post conditions. Okay, defining a preconditions and a post conditions. As we are having some basic idea on Selenium, if you have an idea on both the JUnit and a test ng, we have a at the rate before and at the rate in and after, where in which we are defining the preconditions and a post conditions in a framework level. Right, whatever the preconditions and a post conditions are there, we are defining in a before and an after, where in which before executing any test cases, the preconditions before will be executed, and after executing the script the post conditions will be executed. That's what we have in a JUnit and a test ng. Don't we have any such kind of preconditions and a post conditions in Cucumber? So we have two different options, guys. One is a before, one is a background, and another one is a hooks concepts in Cucumber. Background and a hooks are used to define a preconditions and a post conditions in Cucumber. Great. Let us see what exactly a background is, how we are going to define a background with a simple example. So for now, I'm just closing everything and let's switch back here to this particular project. And now what I'm trying to do now means, so here, if you observe the login page dot a feature, so this login page dot a feature has multiple scenarios, right? This login page dot a feature has a multiple scenarios, right? Roughly there are 4 to 5 different scenarios are there for this login page dot a feature. But the another small point is, if you clearly observe the given for everything, the given is one and the same for all these scenarios. See, for the 4 scenarios, the given is one and the same, which is the precondition is one and the same. Instead of defining the preconditions in a scenario level, let's try to define the scenarios or the precondition in a feature file level. So here I am changing it to background verify open a landing page. So it is not recognizing. Let me change it to background. So background is a keyword which I need to use so that it will recognize that. So in which I'm copying this given and I'm pasting it out over there. So I'm removing given in all the step definitions or in all the scenarios. So roughly we have 4 scenarios are there. For all these 4 scenarios, I have removed this precondition and I kept it out over here. Okay, so earlier, as per my knowledge, we have already implemented these step definitions. Why it is coming like that? Let's switch to the login page and see. Okay, somehow we commented this a piece of a code. I'm just uncommenting this. Let me remove this, uncomment this. Okay, so okay, let me uncomment that. Okay, cool. So okay, so this is what the logic, whatever we have in a previous test scripts, right? This is what the logic, whatever we have created in a previous scripts. Great. Let me see what else we have. Enter the username and a password. For this, we have this logic implemented. 1 second. Oh, do you have a multiple Cucumber test step definitions and Cucumber? Suren Cucumber. Okay. So we are in Suren Cucumber, and this logic is pointing to Suren Cucumber. Okay, given when 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 the user enters. Okay, so enter a valid username and a password. Enter invalid username and a password. Okay. So here there should be the scenarios, the step definitions. We have already the step definition for this. Okay, this is not the one. Okay, so there is some miscommunication. So the issue out over here is I have given this scenario in an improper way due to a lot of modifications what I did. So that's the reason it is not navigating properly. So here, let me change it. User enter valid username password and click on a login button. Okay, verify logout link. Okay, we have a logic for verify logout link. And enter invalid username, we have a logic for that. Enter valid username, even we have a logic for that. And enter this one, it's pointing to the different page. So user enters. So I'm just copying this step definition and I'm pasting. Okay, so wantedly I just corrected everything, and each and every step has a step definition. Okay, login page, every step has a corresponding step definition within the project. It's not outside the project. Every step has a corresponding step definitions. Now the point is, this is a common, which is opening of a Gmail application is a common for all these scenarios. That's the reason we have created a background, and we are defining the given. Depending on a need, we can add when and then also. Depending on your need, you can add a when and a then also for this step or this feature file, so that as per the logic it will execute. So let me copy this step definition or a feature file name. Let me update my feature file name here and let me run my test. So the significance of this background, this background is a precondition which will be defined and executed each and every time. So for this scenario, I'm not going to write down any new say a script with the Selenium. So I would like to write down a normal stuff. Gmail, okay, Gmail login dot feature. Okay, I have a written Gmail login dot a feature verify Gmail login functionality. Okay, and the scenario is valid user credentials. Okay, given given accessing Gmail application when user enters username and a password, then verify logout button. Okay, the same way, the second scenario which I'm creating out over here is the second scenario is invalid user credentials given accessing Gmail application when user enters invalid username and a valid password, then verify login page. So these are all the two things, and apart in these two things, the precondition is one and the same, which I am defining in a background. Verify Gmail login page. Okay, so I'm removing the given from both the scenarios, and I have a defined out over there directly in the background. So we need to write down the step definitions for these things. So let me create a new class here, Gmail login page. Okay, I'm not writing down any step definitions. Copy when and then, place it in a teddy jerkin, get the when and then for that, and paste it in your Gmail login here. The same way, copy when and then for these two, paste it in a teddy jerkin, and get this information and place it in your step definition. Finally, we have a given also. Copy the given step, paste it here, get the step definition, go back, paste it here, import the required things. Import a given, okay, import a given, import a when, import a then, delete these throws exception command. And now the logic is the given. I know it's a precondition. System.out.println defining precondition. User enters this one. So system.out.println enter valid credentials. Verify logout button. System.out.println logout button got displayed. The same way invalid credentials. So I'm writing down the system.out.println enter invalid credentials. And the same way for the login page also I'm writing down login page got a displayed. So I have a implemented step definitions. Now let me copy the feature file name Gmail login feature. Let me paste it in the test runner and change this file name and see the console. Let me run the test runner as a Java application and let us see. Okay, it is having some issues. Okay, it is having some issues with the step definitions, mobile. Okay, so it is having some issues with the mobile step definition. Where is the mobile step definition? Here it is. Let me comment this whole code. I don't want this one. Let me comment this whole stuff. Now let me run my test runner again, run as a JUnit test. This time it executed successfully. If you clearly observe here, defining preconditions, it executed that. It's gonna execute first and enter the valid credentials logout button. Defining preconditions, enter invalid credentials. Somehow the logout one was not executed. Verify the login was not executed. Seems like it was unable to recognize the feature file. Okay, it was unable to recognize the step definition. Let me remove the spaces. We know this is the most common issue which we usually encounter. So I have removed the spaces, and now let me run my scenario and see here. So the logic present in a background got executed before executing every scenario. Before executing every scenario, the logic present in a background got executed. Okay, the logic present in a background got executed all the time. So the only one point which we people need to remember is we can define this background within a single feature file itself. Okay, for suppose I am executing multiple feature files. Okay, so in my current scenario, let us assume that we have a Gmail login feature and an Android UI feature. I have a given my background in a Gmail login. This background will be applicable only for this Gmail login. If you would like to define another precondition, then you need to go for the Android UI, and again here you need to write down a background separately for this. So background is applicable only for this feature file. We don't have any common background for multiple feature files. Okay, we don't have any common background for the multiple feature files. Okay, accessing sites. Okay, that's fine. Whatever it might be, I have given that. So the ultimate point of what we people need to consider is when we are dealing with this particular backgrounds, this background is applicable only for that particular feature file. We can't use this a precondition for the multiple feature files. Only one. That's it. That's the bottom line which you need to remember. The next concept which we are going to study is applicable for all the feature files. Okay, we are gonna applicable for all the feature files which we will use the most frequently in our frameworks. The next concept which we are discussing, we will use the most frequently in our frameworks. Okay, this is a brief overview about the backgrounds. Okay, fine. That's all I have. See you again in the next lecture. Thank you. Bye bye.